Hello and welcome, Snake here. Today I'm starting another tier list and it's gonna be for Slaanesh. Yes, the fourth monogod I didn't cover because I was waiting for Tides of Torment. And to be honest, it wasn't my favorite from all the monogods. In fact, Slaanesh was the weakest for me because Slaanesh has one very important playstyle I didn't like for a long time. It's glass cannon. You do tons of damage, but you take tons of damage in return. Now, the roster is much more balanced. At least that's how I feel it. One note, I am disabled, so some units I tend to not like to play because it does make me tired. I live with endless pain, so my muscle actually suffers when I intense gaming, and some of the units when I need to do a lot of manual clicking, a lot of it, like a lot of micro. It's unpleasant for me, and sometimes it does reflect in my judgment. So just wanted to explain it. Okay. So if you like any kind of content like this, please consider subscribing. You can help me a lot. I do also support myself with the game in the background, so I will switch from here to there to show you certain statistics or location. It will be way easier thanks to this. Okay, without any more complications, let's go. Starting of course with the infantry. I have devoted Marauders of Slaanesh, and you have normal variant and the anti-large variant. They're both tier 1. I mean, the classic Marauders are for mortal chain of a building, and it becomes like the tier 0 for that chain. So you can have it with just the settlement building. The other one is only with the barracks type of a building. It won't be any surprise by evaluating them this way. I would say even this, but no. You can play with the basic Marauders for some time. They will do what they're designed to. They will fight. They will die. The anti-large is a little bit better in my eyes, and I'll show you why. Because basic Marauder has some... It's the difference, of course, the spear variant will always have a little bit more melee defense and lose melee attack. And the basic melee infantry type has more melee attack than melee defense. So I do value melee defense a little bit more. But yeah, basic Marauder has some armor piercing 7 and base weapon 21. Typical. The spear variant has this. Base weapon 20, armor piercing 5, so it's 2 less, and 1 less for base weapon. However, anti-large plus 15 complement that. You shouldn't spam them in early stages. If you have those, you should mix them. But if you use the spear variant against large, oh, you're gonna see the bonus there. So they're much more effective, while these are like, So that's why I'm gonna put it this way. I don't like the Marauders in general. I feel like Marauders are like meh. They're like goblins for evil factions. I mean, goblins are evil? Maybe. And I just don't like playing with Marauders. When I play Wulfric, I have the least fun out of all Norscan lords, because Wulfric really depends on Marauders and it's meh. The next one is Devoted Marauder of Slaanesh with the Hell Scourge. It's a whipped guy that is... Yeah, I'll show you. He is the Defender. So he's pumped with the melee defense, and his base weapon is highest than, because it's a tier 2 unit, than these two, but armor piercing is only 4. So this guy is clearly just to, block some units, just to hold the line. For a long time, there was no missile units for Slaanesh. Now when you have the Druki crossbowmen, you can do something. Also, Slaanesh relies heavily on vassals. You can use vassal units, you can recruit some missile units, and the defender will be great to defend it. Like, shades or some crossbowmen, whatever. Defender will be the guy to pick if you want to protect them. However, in my eyes, it's not shit. I cannot say it's complete shit, but it's not really that good in terms of damage wise. It's why most of the time you should be the one who is attacking. So defender is the unit you really don't need it 95% of the time. You want to be offensive as much as possible, and yeah, he's just not cutting it. Next up are, of course, the Demonettes. They're fucking amazing. I should put them here, and to be honest, they are ripping everything. Oh my god. This unit, in early stages, is so brutal. You will do so much damage. It's insane. It's really amazing. However, they're better version than this, so I'm putting it here. But for early stages, Demonettes, if you play with Mask, oh my god, Demonettes are disgusting. They shreds everything. It's so freaking good. I love to use them, even when I play Warriors of Chaos, even when I play Daniel. Yeah, I do play Daniel. So they are great, really. And Demonettes are the tier 0 for the demonic chain of a building, because if you don't recognize, they did the mortal chain and demonic chain. So mortal gives you more reduction on constructions for infrastructure, while demonic gives you military recruitment reduced and recruitment costs reduced, and it's the base for the demonic chain. That's why I kind of switch. I should value Demonette before this, but yeah, all Marauders should be stay together. Now is the Forsaken, and to be honest, I freaking hate Forsaken. In general, I would say they're here, but I never use them. I literally never use them. Why would I? No, I cannot say they're complete shit. No, they are not. They do some kind of fighting. They're not great versus... I mean, they will perform an armor piercing a little bit more than definitely any kind of Marauder. So they're beating Marauders miles ahead. They don't have shields, but they're armored. So if you go versus something that's not armored that much, yeah, they will do their job. But in days when I have a Demonettes, yeah, they're squishy, but they do so much damage, and the speed is their advantage. Oh, actually, there is not that much difference. But yeah, magic, attacks, and everything. For some strange reason, Forsaken melee defense is only 20, so they're really ew. That's why I would never use in Slaanesh roster, because they're different Forsaken, but for Slaanesh roster, this is the unit these two units are the unit I will never freaking use. But this one has more use, since it can, if I mess around with vassals, I can have some missile units. While this one, well, it goes in, fights, and dies, and that's pretty much it. And, it's just not for me. That's why I feel like the Forsaken is a complete shit in Slaanesh roster. It's no point to recruit it. Especially now when they introduce Slangers. I'd say Slangers are performing on okay level compared to Forsaken. They're the same tier, from the same building, at the same spot. So you can either recruit this or this. One, they're more cost effective. They are definitely slapping harder. The only difference here, I'd say, is the armor. And yeah, I know Forsaken has the devastating flanker, but how often you will use it? It's good for other types of units rather than infantry. So yeah, the frenzy, it's okay, while the slangers use pleasure through the pain. So more they stay in combat, the more they do. Of course, Primal Fury as all gores, and they perform. I think, yeah, I did use when I played the Kala army at the start. I used a lot of slangers, and I used the stealth. Oh my god, stealthing slangers did so much. I was surprised how good they are versus infantry, because they do have bonus versus infantry. While Forsaken does nothing, yeah, you can get through the woods because they also have woodsmen, so they get faster through the woods after all their beastmen. So definitely will perform better than, hard armor Forsaken. Yeah, unfortunately. That's why I evaluated them here. They will, they are cheaper, have more life. It all works. They're okay. I realized there is one more tier 2 unit, and it's Chaos Warrior. Chaos Warrior is a good unit, right? It is. It is a good unit. But in order to get it, you need to have a mortal chain at first. Then you do need to decide to build it. And I don't see any value building this chain whatsoever. Really. As the Devoted Marauders of Spears, you can use early on, because like in Nakari campaign, you do not have like tier 2 building to your disposal like rather quick. So getting this and getting some of the spear units is actually good. But getting Demoness is better. But they can support each other. And of course, Chaos Warriors would do absolutely the same. They would be like, the hammer, actually the anvil, and the Demonets are hammer. So you can, hit from both sides, and Chaos Warriors will absolutely deliver. They're tough. They're really tough. From Slaanesh roster, the Mortals are the tough units. But I don't value that in Slaanesh. I do not enjoy. Slaanesh is rather quick. The roster is rather quick, and I like to do quick fights rather than typical, mortal units clash. They get a little bit more speed, but it's marginal, and a little bit more physical resistance. That's it. They are weaker compared to Chaos Warriors of Khorne. Oh my god, Chaos Warriors of Khorne are so much better. Or even Nurgle, because the Nurgle case, you do want to have way to slow down and defend it. While here, you can use it, absolutely. There is a ground where you can use it, but I'm not evaluating that high, because it's too slow and too boring. The fight takes forever. They do deliver over time, but defenders and any mortal infantry is not that good. Almost not. Not every. Okay, and now I'm gonna put Demonets even higher. Quick, really deadly, the great stats, a lot of support. Mask is buffing them to great degree, but yeah, like, come on. Mask is buffing them here. I have some research already. Charmed Effect, attack plus the magical attacks. They do have some blocks, missile, low armor, but the speed is out there. While these guys, 33 speed. Look, you get 5% physical resistance and some speed. Ew. Wow. Yeah, normally I think they're 28, so it's a little bit more, but it's still freaking low. And Demonet's tier 3 unit absolutely rips everything. I love him. And yeah, they deliver. Now is the Chaos Warriors with this Hellscourge. So mortal units in Slaanesh roster like to have a whip, and they like to whip it a lot. And these guys are defenders, and I value them here, really. Next up is the Chosen. Chosen is a tier 3 unit, so it's really high up there, and the stats are Chosen again, a slow, boring and everything, but it's a tier 3 unit, so of course it will perform great. But like I said, the speed and the damage it's not that good, sadly. And now It's the surprise I didn't even thought I will, have. But what's the name? The devotees of Slaanesh, the Druki, dark elves. Oh my god, the elves that decide to go with Slaanesh, and tier 3 unit. Of course, lower stats than Chosen, of course, but they get some support. And the support lies in the hero, Druki Anointed. You can buff them. Having 2 of them will work greatly, because 1 will give the Druki Anointed. The devotees of Slaanesh will buff them, give them 1 Murderous Euphoria, so they will, during the fight, they get better. And also they get Frenzy plus Vigor loss reduction. There is a weakened version, but it's still okay. And it's really good buff. The other one will give them Evasion, so another great buff, and that will absolutely work. So these guys, with some degree of a buffing, they will perform nicely. They will do damage. They won't suck that hard. And of course, with the crossbowmen devotees, they can, I'm gonna put it this way, because they will work together. I don't know. Of course, what I want to say is that Dark Elves, in general, shades will be better than these guys. But they're like shades, just without stock. But thanks to Druki Anointed, you buff them and make them much better fighters. So if you want to go for infantry, it's either Demonids or the Dark Elves units. And yeah, like I said, I would value them higher than Chosen. You can slap some Chosen to protect the crossbowmen. But the crossbowman is tier 4 unit. You need to remember that. So tier 4 unit, the only missile unit. There is also Chosen with the Hellscourge Defender. It's okay at best. But back to crossbowman of Druki. Oh, wait. Chosen of Slaanesh is tier 4 as well. Ugh, okay. But yeah, these guys, 44, 38. Weapon strength bonus versus infantry. They're the same unit, more or less. Yeah, they have pretty much the same stats. A little bit weaker on melee defense side, but better on offense. They do nicely. So if you want to protect them, you can put some Chosen, and you will have typical infantry-based army with the, missile unit and some infantry to protect. Yeah, if I use these, I could have... I think I would, if I focus on crossbowmen a lot, they're pricey, they're really pricey. But if I want to have this type of army composition in Slaanesh roster, then these guys, plus maybe some of the Chosen, but mixed with them so they can fight. But then again, why you use them if you can spam crossbowmen? That's why I would say they're really on the amazing side of a unit, because they're multifunction. A little bit of melee, maybe you don't need protection, maybe you go full of them and just, spam the F out of it, and they will defend. They're like Sisters of Avalon. Of course, not magic attack, not other things, but it's a different playstyle for Slaanesh. It's really comforting, the comfy way of playing. If you're playing Mortals and you want to have that type of playing, then they will absolutely really, really work. So I think they are very universal. They're like shades, just without stock, but they can fight in melee, they can shoot everything. Not the best units, but I do value this type of playstyle. And yeah, it does work for me. The Dark Elves work for me. I will most likely cover this type of army. Listen, it's an infantry, but it can slap. The crossbow always slaps. Now up to Cavalry. And to be honest, there's two types of cavalry, mortals and demons. Demon cavalry is way better. Just want to say that. I'll show you why. Okay, mortal cavalry. Yeah, we have the Hellstriders of Slaanesh. Bonus versus large. They get routed quick for some reason. Then you have the Hell Scourges. So, lower melee attack. I mean, that's what you get. Base weapon damage, really low armor piercing, no bonus versus anything. Stats are okay. They are designed to have prolonged combat. They are the type of cavalry you charge in and you fight. And usually I like it, but not in Slaanesh, because their leadership is shit. 60 is not a lot, and you would be surprised how fast they can rout. If you go versus like non-armored infantry, yeah, they will do. But let me show you the Seekers of Slaanesh. A lot of armor piercing. Leadership's technically the same, but they're demonic. They fight till they die, and they have magic attack. So the stats for 28 to 34, while Seekers have 38 to 34. So boom, out of nowhere, better attack. Of course, you also have Marauders of Slaanesh, the missile unit. They have a magic attack, and they do nicely. It's okay unit. It's a very nice unit, but when they get into combat, they don't perform. So all the mortal type of units, in my eyes, for me, is something I don't even bother to use. So when I have them, when I start with them, okay, I can play with them. When I need emergency unit, okay, I can recruit them. But to be honest, these are not performing that well. They are not. But in terms of, what one is tier 1. For a tier 1 unit, okay, let me rephrase it. For a tier 1 unit, usually cavalry, you get like mounted yeomen or peasants. These guys are so much better than peasants, especially that they are bonus versus large, so other cav, or yeah, they on a tier 1 unit, these are slapping hard, while these they don't have anything. They're the same. These guys are pretty much the same. Better stats, but the performance is not there. So that's why I decided to put it this way and this way. Marauders of Slaanesh, yeah, the missile attack is nice. It's a magic attack, so it will do what it's supposed to do. But in terms of raw damage, it will get lost rather quick. Their leadership is even lower, and I hate when my units rout. That's why I put it this way. None of them is shit to me, but there are units I'm not gonna use. And now Seekers, tier 3 cavalry, it's disgusting because it does slap hard. It really does. And Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh are the next one, and again, slow, heavy. I mean, these guys are fast, definitely faster than any other unit from Chaos Warriors as a cavalry. They will be the fastest. But no, for a tier 4 unit, they are not really having anything. Like Lances don't have bonus versus infantry, while the normal one doesn't have bonus versus anything. So, not gonna lie, I would recruit any other unit above these. And this is rough for me because I know they're not that bad. But for any kind of... I don't see reason where I go this chain of a building to recruit these. 350 for tier 4 unit that doesn't have any specialization, doesn't have any oomph. Devastating flanker is the only thing. But again, their charge bonus is not there. The speed is not there. The damage, in Slaanesh, I feel like the defense is the weakest part of a roster. But yeah, I think these are the units I would probably never bother to recruit when I have Heartseekers of Slaanesh. And again, you need to pay attention. It's an intense micro. Intense micro. But holy fuck, what they do is the cavalry is just whew, so powerful. It's insane. And I love it. Because they do have more abilities, like when they more they kill, the better they are. A devastating flanker. When you flank them with them, you could say, hey, I can mix them with like infantry. Yes, you can. You can even try play with. No, that's not gonna work. But you could try play with chosen, and use them. You could. I'll show you in the game. Yeah, I'll show you in the game my mask army. Yeah, I started with the cavalry. There was the seekers. I got rid of seekers, so I had the another cultist, and I have the Heartseekers of Slaanesh. And oh my god, I was fighting with the demonettes, and then Heartseekers slaps in. Yeah, it does insane damage. The charge is so brutal. Really, really good. That's why I value them much, much higher. But the Pleasure Seekers is a tier 5 unit that is added. They have very nice ability called Feasting on Fear. So whenever they waver, they break some unit, they get heals. And there's 32 units versus 60, so they have much higher life, decent stats, insane armor piercing, 20% block chance is not a lot, but still, these units are really deadly. Holy hell, they slaps so hard. Yeah, I like to use in Slaanesh roster the fast and deadly units. The slow one and the defenders are really falling behind. And that's a very important part. If you want to do damage, you need to do damage rather than, tickle the balls. And now it's gonna be something something surprising to even me. Nobody, whenever I said talked about the chariots of Slaanesh, I was, people were making laugh and making fun of me that I value them high. They are not, insanely broken. I mean, no, they are. So here's the Slaanesh chariots. You have 3 of them for demons. It starts here. Seeker Chariot does that. Bonus versus infantry, armor piercing, and everything. I have this units. I have 2 chariots in the mask starting army. They are great. They're really great. Then you have the Hellflayers. Much better stats. Still 4 units. Still low life. Almost the same. But they have the abilities, including Soul Send. And then you have Exalted Seeker Chariot, where there's just 1 chariot, and it's... Jesus, it does so much damage. Armor piercing 300, bonus versus infantry. It's insane. But let me compare that to her. Exalted Seeker Chariot. It's the same chariot. Yeah. It's the same thing. So the only problem here is that it's a great chariot, but you can use Alores. Alores is limited to this building. Previously, I think, at least in Daniel Rust, I think it was tied to this building with the Demonettes. It was easier to get Alores than it is now. So for the damage they offer, they're really good. Really good. I would say they're all great, right? The Exalted Chariot is insane in terms of damage, but you cannot spam it. And of course, if you want to have this kind of powerful chariot, you would go for Alores to put it into army rather than this. So its value goes down. It really goes down. But if you want to have, if you don't go for heroes, you don't like to have too many heroes, or you don't have capacity, but you can recruit one, any of these chariots, if you go versus infantry, whatever, oh my god, the sheer power you get from these, I'd say this is even better, because this one is the basic, it's the lowest damage. These two do so much damage versus infantry. I think I won like many battles versus high elf when I played Nakari, and I went versus like infantry based armies. I had one unit of a chariot, and it won everything. Of course I had to watch out for missile, but it was a lot of forest there. So I was coming out of forest, mowing down infantry and hiding back. These chariots, if you don't think about heroes, they're all great. These are one of the greatest chariots in terms of damage potential in the game. They're very squishy, like every chariot, but the damage, they're magical chariots. They have devastating flanker. Devastating flanker for a chariot is just so much damage. The collision attack is doing so much. I can't even express. And this one, Exalted Seeker Chariot, is only one entity and has mass 3000. I don't even know how much the Alores have. There it is, 3000. Yeah. So it's the hero value of a mass, and it pierces through infantry like hot knife through butter. So if you can't have Alores, or you can recruit level 1, then this one is a great supplement until she levels up. Its value goes down when you have multiple heroes, but in terms of potential, Jesus, it does so much damage. So without counting Alores, if you don't include it, this chariot will mow down so much infantry. Oh man, great, just great. And then there it is, this one. The Mortal Chariot is compared to other chariots, is just not doing it. It's not cutting. It doesn't do damage that much. It's slower, lower mass. Like they designed the weaker version for a purpose. So the Immortal Chariot is something I would never recruit. The Demonic Chariots mowing down everything. Mowing down infantry like it's nothing. So it's really good. Oh yeah. Now Furies. God, I hate Furies. I hate Furies so much. I would never recruit them. When you can use them as a summon, they're okay. When you can get them for free, they're okay. But that's it. That's fucking it. Chaos Spawn is the unit I don't even know how to use. It's a tier 3 unit, and it competes. Of course, as I said, I'm gonna go for Druki Anointed, so I have spawns of Slaanesh to my disposal. And I use them because I needed like a siege attacker. Yeah, they're okay siege attacker. But you know what else is a good siege attacker? Fiends of Slaanesh. So it's technically the same unit. They offers almost the same value. The Slaanesh spawn is unbreakable. It does have some advantage. It does slap a little bit harder versus unarmored units. Definitely. The Soporific Musk is something they also have. And of course it's cheaper. So I recruited this to have a siege attacker. But if I have something to choose, Fiends of Slaanesh are way better. And I think both recruit in 2 turns. So it's not that good. That's why Fiends of Slaanesh will be higher. They're faster. Yeah, they're definitely faster. So I'm not gonna say spawn is shit completely. No, because I use it and it worked. It's big. It's unfortunately really squishy, but it's worked. While Fiends are way better because of all the benefits they provide. That the speed, damage is out there. They also are demonic, more or less, right? They're demonics? Yeah, they're demonic, so they have physical resistance, the devastating flanker, you can benefit from it much better than the spawns of Slaanesh. And yeah, the speed and the damage is out there, plus there are siege attackers. I don't know for how long, but they're out there. And Fiends, yeah, Druki Anointed is something you're gonna recruit as well, but Fiends are have a higher chance to be recruited often because this is a chain of a building you want to have. You want to have the sorcerers, because Slaanesh has so much research. You need to steal technology as much as possible. Really. So you're gonna go up with the research rate, you're gonna just do stuff. And you probably want to recruit some of those units eventually. So this is a tier of a building, like compare this one to this one. Yeah, it's like bonus. Casualties captured post-battle in adjacent province. Ooh, yeah, that's not gonna work. Whenever you're gonna build tier 3 or tier 4 building, then probably the adjacent province is already yours as well, so what's the point? That's why this one is the most likely to recruit it. Here, Druki Anointed, if you're gonna go for these, the devotees, then yeah, you're gonna have option to recruit it too. These will perform way better, that's why I think this is fair. And now I have a problem the same I had with the Chariot. Exalted Seeker Chariot is amazing in terms of damage, but it gets obsolete when Aloris sits on a chariot, right? But even without Aloris, I would, if I don't have Aloris, I would recruit it because you either go for infantry, monsters, but I mixed those a little bit in Slaanesh roster, and I like to have a chariot in terms of fighting infantry because it can do such insane damage and its advantage is great. But I have a problem with the Chaos War Shrine of Slaanesh. The problem lies in the speed. It would work with army where you have the Chosen. It would work for, it could work for other things. But you get cultists and they have the mount. So you can put it literally anywhere. As I like the Khorne one, because Khorne Shrine, or War Shrine, works, because as Khorne, in early stages, you spam the fuck out of infantry greatly. You spam the Chaos Warriors, because they are the best infantry tier 0 you can get. So having the Shrine buffs them greatly, gives a ward save. Of course, you can put the cultists, but cultists are harder to get in the Khorne roster. I think they're not that easy to get. And I like to have 2 per army. So often, especially when I play against entire world, I use the War Shrine. In Slaanesh, I don't. And I just don't feel you need to recruit it because it gives leadership and some Mortis engine effect. It's a tier 3 unit, the Mortis engine effect, and it's also in a building that I will never build. This is something I will never recruit because they're all in this. No, this is something I would never recruit because it's here. And I would even say the Chariot is also here because it lies in this building. So yeah, the entire building is shit. So that's why I put the Chariot here as well, because I would never build this building. It's not worth of your spot to recruit something that is so miserable. And the War Shrine, as they are, likable by me, I like War Shrines. Here is not much space to work, sadly. And Mortis engine effect is really likable by me. I like to have it. But often, I move so quick as a Slaanesh in battles. I like to have the mobility, and he's slow, big, and there is not much use for him. Maybe I'm dumb. Correct me if I'm wrong. But nah. And now the best of the best. Champions of Slaanesh are fucking amazing. Slaanesh is really hard using them. They're so freaking good. The Kala army the Kala with them is, oh my god, you roll over everything. Their stats are good. They're destroy infantry. They're good versus single entities. They are doing greatly. Great stats, missile blocking. Remember, they are having 4 arms, so yeah, definitely out there. I love them. The power creep is insane here. And yeah, I will most likely soon release the video where I play with them. There is no stopping to them. They're so quick. They're so deadly. Amazing. Amazing. Now Praeton. I was really skeptic about Praeton because it does have a weird ability. The weird ability is called All-Consuming Hatred. I know how it works because I had All-Consuming Hatred. But it reduces your melee defense and gain melee damage reflection. It's tricky, but if you're surrounded by a lot of enemies, it does reflect quite a lot of damage. Oh, they also have this Endless Malice when the units are routing. It's okay, but the most important thing is that it's the only single entity unit you do have in Slaanesh roster. My problem is the sustain, and I don't think Praetons have any kind of form of sustain in their research. They get some buffs, missile resistance, but there is nothing Praetons will get. Oh my god, so many buffs. But yeah, there is nothing that Praetons get to sustain themselves. And I remember the Kala is not giving them anything. Mask is not giving them anything. And Nakari definitely not giving them anything. Sadly, I cannot sustain them. They don't have any kind of life stealing. It's bad. But as an only flying unit, they're really very good. They're really, really very good. They will do the job. You can have army where you fly around and do stuff. So yeah, I would definitely use them over, oh my god, over Soul Grinders of Slaanesh. Yeah, I would most likely have an army with Praetons than Soul Grinders. Slaanesh Soul Grinders are are the worst Soul Grinders in the game. And I don't value them that much. They're faster than any other Soul Grinder. They get a little bit more physical resistance, but they don't have that missile attack, or they don't have the barrier. So that the Zinj provides, but nah. In my eyes, they're okay at best. And you can build an army with them and they will kill stuff. But nah. And then of course there is the Keeper of Secrets. It's the Nakari-alike version that is dying quick because it doesn't have any protection. And I fucking hate it. Okay? But there is a lot of technology put into them. They get bounce spells. That makes them better because the bounce spells cost nothing. The only problem is it takes forever to research that. 28 turns, yeah. It's gonna take a little bit too long for me to research that. And I really don't like it. I really don't like it. And I like it as a summon, but I don't like it as a unit to recruit. So I'd say these two units, I would have much more fun playing with, you know, Pleasure Seekers, with Champions, even with Praetons over these two units. I'm not a Slaanesh veteran, and maybe I look it wrong. They are definitely deadly, but the squishiness is something I dislike. And Soul Grinders, like I said, these two are tier 5 unit, and I would most likely do army with, I don't know, let's say, Champions of Slaanesh, Praetons, Exalted Seeker, nah, but Pleasure Seekers, even these guys. I will eventually try, but they cost so much and they don't have any sustain. As a Keeper of Secret, yeah, they do have some abilities, the bounce spells, so they work. So most likely I would put it as a very good, because the bounce spells, you can bombard the fuck out of everything. But in terms of efficiency, I think this is it. And yes, that's my list. I tried to explain why I choose these units and these spots. Maybe it's not the most optimal, but I rate it based on my experience and my enjoyment. You might have a different one. It's okay. We can disagree. That's the beauty of a world. But tell me, which unit I evaluated the mostly wrong, and I would like to start a conversation. In the meantime, thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, subscribe. Have a great day. Take care. And bye-bye.